And welcome back. We're again in the Shadow Gallery. I'm still James Donnelly, and you're at part 2 of this week's, the week of, was what, the 15th of June, with new comics, bitches! So, let's get on with it. Okay, X-Men 13. Still a really cool storyline, although Cyclops a little bit sidelined in this one, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter because this issue is a lot bigger than just Cyclops. It goes deeper and deeper into the mystery of who the evolutionaries are. Again, finding this incredibly fascinating. See where this leads. If this is any way going to be connected with Schism, I don't know, but I'm really looking forward to that. You know, again, we're dealing with present and past, you know, as far as the fighting part is the present part is concerned, the one advantage that they seem to have over the evolutionaries is that Archangel is the only one that seems to be able to pierce the evolutionaries' armor. And, you know, in the meantime, everybody is, you know, fighting like mad to kind of keep Cyclops safe. And then we go back into the past, and basically, you know, you have Magneto speaking for the evolutionaries. And, you know, of course, you know, the evolutionaries say, well, we have a way of killing every, you know, Homo sapien on Earth. And, you know, that seems to be a plan that Magneto kind of digs. But he needs to get access to Cerebro, so he goes hunting for a telepath. And then we find when the X-Men take a trip up on a tip from Quicksilver, actually. Well, more of a tip from the Scarlet Witch. But nonetheless, they take a trip to a kind of private institution in which they find a very institutionalized Emma Frost. So the first time that we ever see or hear of her character, I guess, in the universe, as you know, in the X universe, I guess this was, you know, was to be the first time that anybody had really heard of her. So that was pretty cool. I like that idea. And then at the end, for those of you who have read it, please somebody explain to me who the hell is it that kind of attacks the X-Men at the end. I don't know who any of those characters are. This is what I get for not following the X-Men at all, really. So because their roster seems to have grown by leaps and bounds, because they all seem to be they all seem to be actually more and more condensed into one, you know, into, you know, the different X books. But it seems, you know, like the team just keeps getting bigger and bigger, but, you know, with fewer comics. You know, there's not 20 different X comics, which is actually a good thing, I think. But anyway, moving along, still a very compelling read. You know, Chris Yost doing a really good job on the writing on that. I'm enjoying both the present and the past art. I like the feel that they give. So it's just, you know, it's a really good read overall. Morning Glories number 10. So we've got this seems to be Jade's story, part of her story, because we've seen a little bit of it before. This harkens back to some stuff from issue 4 or 5. I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, where you know, it's a lot of, you know, Jade seems to almost exist perpetually in this kind of dream/nightmare state. It's more nightmare than dream, really. So I'm wondering if that's what's special about her. This is really, you know, I hate, you know, I don't like to always kind of, you know, to take out the old this meets this. But this is kind of Lost meets the X-Men, sort of. That's kind of the feeling that I get from it. I mean, Nick Spencer is an extremely talented writer, but he, it's like this almost is starting to feel a little bit too Lost-ish, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of back and forth. We don't know what, we don't seem to really know what time period we're in. It's obvious that these people have these very special abilities, but whatever they are, obviously we don't know. And that is part of what's fun about reading this comic, and what's so compelling about reading this comic is learning about these characters and what they're capable of. But it's just, with this one, I'm not quite so sure what exactly Jade can do, other than it seems to be that she can visit her future self. Again, it's one of the, I guess it's one of the fun things in understanding it, and what it'll be later. So still, obviously, Morning Glories is an awesome read. It's really compelling. I just thought, I'm beginning to think that this is, getting a little, that this whole technique, that Nick Spencer is employing, is becoming a little, it's a little Lost-esque, and maybe too much so. But, again, I loved Lost, so that never got old. Moving along, Green Hornet number 16. This was a really weak issue. I didn't really seem to care about anything that was really going on, because quite frankly, I'm lost. I don't really know who the Red Hand is or what they're supposed to be. There was this kind of interesting sidebar with, Green Hornet confronting these two kind of dumbass vigilantes, who of course think that the Green Hornet is, he's trying to consolidate, the criminal empire in Century City. Other than that, I mean, it's, that was the only part of the book that I felt was kind of memorable. Aside from that, Phil Hester, he's a good writer, but I just didn't feel that this was really, that this particular arc just is not really doing it for me. Batman 711. It didn't really do anything for me. I just, I feel that, first of all, I don't know who this Riddler is that's in this. It kind of crashed the momentum that we got from the previous issue, which was the reappearance of Gilda Dent, who apparently has been dead for quite some time. And it's been a long time since I've read The Long Halloween. But is Mario Falcone, was he actually Holiday in The Long Halloween? If if you know, please let me know, because I forgot. Because there is a reference to him being in an asylum, an institution, something. But yeah, Gilda Dent has shacked up with Mario Falcone. This seems to be, again, fallout from The Long Halloween. So, I'm a little bit lost, because it's been so long since I've read it. The whole thing with Catgirl and, I don't know who this Riddler is. Is this Riddler supposed to be Edward Nygma? Why did he become a total fucking lunatic again, if it is Edward Nygma? That's the part that's really confusing me. Because, again, it's like there's so many Bat titles. It's like, because you got Gotham City Sirens. That was the last time that I saw Edward Nygma, and he seemed normal in there to me. But I stopped reading that, so I don't know. And Jester apparently is his daughter. Again, I'm just confused. I just don't know what the hell's going on. So, Book of the Week. Since this came out this week, this is probably not a huge surprise to anybody, but pick of the week is Invincible number 80. Robert Kirkman once again proves that he's one of the very best in the business working right now. Probably, he's certainly vying for the top spot with, with Walking. I mean, since Brian K. Vaughan seems to kind of disappeared for a while, Ed Brubaker, obviously doing some great work, but the fact that, anyway, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know. There's a lot of really great talent out there right now, but Kirkman just seems to be, everything is drawing me in. Every issue of almost everything that he does is just so awesome. It never gets tired. I mean, I've read all 80 issues and a lot of the kind of spin-offs of Invincible, and they're all amazing. I mean, it's such riveting reading, and this issue is no exception. I mean, the ending of this issue just fucking blew my mind, man. It was unbelievable. It really was unbelievable. And I don't know how they're going to play this in future issues, but man, it was, I mean, really devastating. I mean, Kirkman is not kind to his protagonists. I mean, he might end up being kinder in something like Super Dinosaur, because that is more of a book aimed at kids. But I mean, Christ, The Walking Dead and Invincible, I mean, these guys get, I mean, the protagonists of those books just get fucking, I mean, the most awful shit keeps happening to them. And I don't mean to laugh, but I mean, it's really, I mean, Robert Kirkman is not nice, to his creations. What creator is, though? And there's a nice little there's a nice little B story in there about Tech Jacket, which is kind of neat. But again, Invincible, just so awesome. So I'm going to wrap it up for, I'm sorry, there is one more book of the week, although it technically it almost doesn't count, even though it did come out. So book of the last 2 weeks, which is American Vampire Survival of the Fittest #1. Because I went back and a friend lent me the first trade of American Vampire, because I kept telling him about how much I loved detective comics, and Scott Snyder's run on that right now, and he said to me, you've got to read American Vampire. It's, if you like Scott Snyder, you're gonna love this. And guess what? I fucking did. I read it, and he had all the issues. He gave me the trade to read. He gave me all the issues to read. I read them all in a single night. I didn't sleep until about 6 o'clock in the morning because I was reading them all. And then when Wednesday came around, I got Survival of the Fittest #1. And man, it's just, I mean, that series rocks the fucking house. American Vampire is just awesome. So, I mean, just as a whole, that series is great. I mean, with Pearl and Skinner Sweet, and, I mean, just the Vassals, I mean, it's so fascinating. It's really gripping horror reading, and it's cool that these are ugly fucking vampires, that these are not, sparkly, super sexy vampires. These, when they get vampiric on your ass, you want to be elsewhere, man. So it's a really compelling story, and the stuff that was done earlier that included Stephen King, that's probably some of my favorite work that I've ever seen Stephen King do, because I'm not a huge fan of Stephen King, and that's why I was a little skeptical about getting this book to begin with. But it's awesome. If you have the means, definitely check out American Vampire. So that's it for this week, for the last 2 weeks, for the new comics. So I'm going to have stuff for you on Sunday when I go see Green Lantern. So until then, au revoir, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night.